How's it gaming, guys? I'm PhilInTheBlanks, and welcome back to Let's Play Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright, Rise from the Ashes. My goodness, someone to remember in terms of the names of where I'm at here. We are in the last trial day. We're finally going to get to the bottom of the murder of Bruce Goodman, or at least we will in the next few episodes, because I think this one's a fairly long trial segment, because it's the last one of the game. So this is the defendant lobby, all right, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Who's saying that? Lana, maybe? Oh, no, Miles, okay. Edgeworth. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 7777777 ID number, that is. It would be like Edgeworth to say the 7 sevens. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. And in case you didn't figure it out, looks like I'm not the only one who figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, Wright, and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. It depends on you? Whoops, sorry. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, Wright. I was wondering with the guards there just kind of standing there and being like, they always get to listen in. They're just like, geez, this stuff's dramatic. This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Here we go. It's always the same people in the coming to watch the trial every week or every day or whatever. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Defense is tongue-tied, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant? Wow, he just teleports. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Urgy, been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Always with the pause. Lana, that is to say the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman. Well, that sucks. We lost, I guess. That's the end of that. In the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana! Objection! You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Alright, I've got a lunch date. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... of course. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, the prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. So my question is, obviously, if this was really happening, it wouldn't matter, right? Legally? Because I guess... Well... Because, like, she doesn't want Phoenix representing her. That's fine. She's allowed to self-represent. But I guess she's not allowed to be like, hey, make a verdict now. I guess she's technically not allowed to do that. So I guess the prosecution would be allowed to continue, I guess? It just wouldn't be smart of them if they knew they were already going to win. But obviously, Edgeworth wants to know the truth. It's not about getting Lana guilty, so... Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand that this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, hmm? Oh, sassy Edgeworth. I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Big smile still on his face. He's good at keeping that front, man. Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, hmm? Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Ms. Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. I wonder who his first actual witness was going to be. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. That's true, but I mean, doesn't mean the prosecution's not allowed to do stuff. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth might be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. I'm playing a lot of Octopath Traveler lately, and I feel like I'm accidentally turning my Edgeworth voice into like Oberick's voice from that, so... My prosecution is unbending! I don't know. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. I'd like to sue Chief Gant for threatening me. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Also, good thing they found Emma. It's actually been a while since the last episode that I played the game, since last episode to this episode. She was talking to Damon Gant last time we saw her. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. I think he actually gets a straight answer for once.
My name is Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator.
2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct?
Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time.
Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant?
Yes, it most certainly is.
Well, okay then.
He sure gave in fast. Now, I guess he, like, Edgeworth is like, you know, people are like, alright, if he says so, yeah. With Phoenix, you gotta like, I gotta prove it, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, before someone will trust me. Please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago.
The trip to yesteryear has finally begun.
It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. But how?
2 years ago. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
Does anyone see any problems with that already?
It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much.
That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor.
You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence.
Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. Now, that's the funny part, because you think, well, I'm not representing Lana anymore, so Lana has every legal right to be like, no questions. You know what I mean? Like, so the big one is obviously stab Mr. Marshall in the chest, but if you go to stabbed in the back, not in the chest. Died from punctured heart and lung, and knifed was in the wound. This evidence clearly reveals the did I get it wrong? What the hell? I was after the defense. Yeah, how's that wrong? What? Okay, apparently that's not correct, even though that's technically a contradiction. Stab Mr. Marshall in the chest. Died from loss and under his weapon. Cause of death. Wait. Stabbed in the back. But it doesn't say stabbed in the back of the actual thing. That's weird. Alright, whatever. Apparently that's not the thing. I guess I'll press it. That must have been a real shock. Even now when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage. When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside, and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie, but Lana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. I'll never forget what I saw. Okay, well, what did you saw? What did you see? Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out? Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. Oh, right, and last episode we saw on the back of the evidence list was this picture here. So yeah, let's keep that in mind. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. Hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Haha, there we go. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? Ask about the picture. This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important message, or meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I guess now would be the time to show that. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. There we go. Okay, cool. So I guess we'll show the picture. Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident? Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Ah! What's this? He's so surprised. Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it! That's the picture I drew! Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? My whole career has been a sham? Runs away.
Order, order! But Miss Skye, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list?
Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor.
Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, are you all right, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable. Mr. Inconceivable! Mr. Edgeworth? It's possible. Let's see. It's so tasty. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Jeez, it's just a picture. Sorry, Your Honor. I was eating some jerky. It was so good. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing. Of course, it's the Blue Badger. Which doesn't make any sense, because didn't Gumshoe just think of the Blue Badger not that long ago? That's that thing! That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Evidence list restored, updated in the court record. List of evidence of half of this list was found in Gant's desk. Very well, witness. Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor.
What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at that picture. Emma's picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. A man getting stabbed by a Wii remote, it looks like. The flash of lightning was so bright all I could see were shadows. After that I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Okay, that was... yep. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. So, the picture, again, shows that he was going to get stabbed in the face. Or the chest. So that is correct. This still says stabbed in the back. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Okay, well, let's... yeah, it doesn't... oh, good, there we go. Okay, good. Stab in the back. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction.
What? But I still remember just like it was yesterday.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? God, how do I prove that it's not gonna hit him in the back? Actually, it kind of looks like he could be like turning him and hitting him in the back. I guess the knife is going down into... I don't know. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Okay, apparently we're going in a completely different direction than I thought. But at least I'm continuing the story. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright.
But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too.
Durr, Emma. Use your brain. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body.
It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer.
I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. Oh, I guess maybe we are going to... okay. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right! But what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation.
Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No.
Ah! Well, that seemed to upset Edgeworth. I guess we'll find out why next time on PhilInTheBlanks. See you guys next level.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this episode, click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to know when the next episode is up. If you want to support my channel, share some videos with some friends and consider supporting me on Patreon.